Hello everyone and welcome back to Love British English. Before we begin, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever found phrasal verbs really confusing or frustrating to learn? I'm sure you have and you're not alone. Phrasal verbs can be so tricky because they often don't mean exactly what the individual words suggest. But don't worry, today I'm going to try something different. Instead of just memorizing a long list of phrasal verbs, I'll also tell you a short story that includes them naturally. Once I've read the story, I'll explain what some of the phrasal verbs mean in context so you can really see how they work in real life situations. I'll also explain some of the common informal vocabulary that we use in British English. All right, let's get started. Just follow along and listen carefully to the story. Try to catch the pronunciation and see if you can figure out what the phrasal verbs and the vocabulary mean. Yesterday, I was up bright and early. No lines for me. The sun was out and I was buzzing because I was throwing a barbecue for my friends. After a quick cuppa and some toast, I nipped down to the shops to pick up a few last-minute bits. Burgers, crisps, a few bottles of something fizzy, and some paper plates. Once I got back, I cracked on with setting up the garden. It was getting pretty warm by then, so I took off my hoodie and I chucked it over the chair. My other half was out there fiddling with the barbecue, acting like he was on MasterChef or something. My friends started turning up just after 2 p.m, which was lovely. The weather was really nice, so we tried to make the most of it. Sadly, one of my friends never showed up. She completely stood me up. No call, no text. I just hoped everything was okay. Still, the rest of us were having a laugh. One of my friend's kids was running around the garden and then suddenly he started imitating my husband, copying the way he talks and pretending to flip burgers. Everyone was in stitches. He's so good at impersonating people. By the evening, the party had really come to life. Tunes were on, the food was banging, and everyone was in a cracking mood. Everything had really taken off. It was a perfect day and I couldn't have asked for more, apart from that one no-show. All right, everyone, how much of that were you actually able to understand, I wonder? Please let me know down in the comment section. But now let's go back to the first paragraph and go over some of the phrasal verbs and vocabulary. Having a lie-in, this means staying in bed longer than usual in the morning, so sleeping later than you would usually sleep. But that was not the case for me yesterday. No lines for me. However, I was buzzing, which means I was full of energy and I was really, really excited because I was throwing a barbecue, which means to organize or host a barbecue gathering. To throw in this context is an informal verb meaning to organize. Moving on to the next paragraph, I nipped down to the shops. To nip somewhere means to quickly go to a nearby place. Nip is a casual British word for a short, quick trip, usually to the shop, but not always. So I nipped down to the shop to pick up a few bits. This means to buy or grab a few small items. It's commonly used in shopping, so you would often hear people saying, I need to pick up some milk, I need to pick up some bread, or I need to pick up some rice. To crack on, this means to continue or to get started with something, especially when you're focused or you're in a hurry. In my case, I was in a hurry. I cracked on with setting up the garden, so I got on with preparing the garden enthusiastically. The next paragraph, took off. I took off my hoodie. So to take off something means to remove a piece of clothing. A hoodie in this case. A hoodie in American English is called a sweatshirt. So it's basically like a jumper with a hood. So that's why we call it a hoodie, because it has a hood and usually some pockets on the front. It was warm, so I took off my hoodie. And then I chucked it over the chair. So if you chuck something, it means you throw something casually. We sometimes say I tossed it over the chair as well. It means without much care. Okay, so to chuck something in informal British English means to throw something. To fiddle with something or fiddling with something means messing around or adjusting something, and it's often done unnecessarily or when you're trying to make something work. So my husband was fiddling with the barbecue. It means he was adjusting it or playing around with it. It often suggests that someone is trying to figure out how something works because they're not really sure. The next paragraph, turn up, to arrive somewhere. My friends began arriving around 2 p.m. My friends turned up around 2 p.m. To show up means to arrive or appear somewhere. It's the same as turn up. So one of my friends never showed up. It means my friend didn't come. And because of that, she stood me up. That means to not attend a party or a date or a meeting, and you do that without telling the other person, so leaving the other person waiting. She completely stood me up. It means she didn't come and she didn't let me know why she wasn't coming. It's often used in dating, but it does work in casual settings too. Again, moving on to the next paragraph, having a laugh. This means enjoying yourself, having fun, often joking around or laughing a lot. So we were having a laugh, we were enjoying ourselves, and we were having fun. So much so that we were in stitches. So if you're in stitches, again, it means you're laughing so much because you're finding something extremely funny. Everyone was in stitches because of my friend's kid. Everyone was laughing really hard as he was impersonating my husband. And the last part, when we say tunes were on, this means music was playing. Tunes often refers to songs or music. Banging food means the food was amazing, delicious, really, really good. This is informal slang. And cracking is also British slang for great or brilliant. Everything had really taken off. So this means the party suddenly became really fun and lively. It was a successful barbecue party. This can also be used for businesses or trends. For example, his YouTube channel really took off, meaning it became successful, or her business took off. Her business became successful. And lastly, no-show is a person who was expected to come but didn't come, often used for appointments or parties or meetings. So my friend stood me up, so she was a no-show. And that's it, everyone. This lesson was jam-packed. Do you know what that means? Let me know down in the comments. Jam-packed with useful phrasal verbs and British slang. I really hope you found the lesson useful. This is the kind of English you'll hear from native English speakers. Please let me know down in the comment section if you've learned anything new today, and write some example sentences for me so I can check if you're using them correctly. If you would like to continue learning phrasal verbs, I suggest watching this video where I talk about 3 phrasal verbs that have 15 different meanings. So another jam-packed lesson. All right, everyone, see you again next time. Take care. Bye for now.